were talking about this subject yesterday with my brother, and one of the things that he said was, you know, most black men do not care. If you look good, you take care of yourself, and you have natural hair, we're still going to go for you. It doesn't matter that much to us. But in almost the same breath, he said that women who he dated who happen to wear extensions or who just straighten their hair, they said to him that I do it because I'm trying to get, you know, a black man, or I think that's what they want. I think that's what they want. And so I think it's important to not just kind of theorize about why we think black women do it, but when they tell us, you know, why they're doing it, just as important as it is for that white person to listen to the black person about their experience, it's important for black men to listen to black women when they say, this is exactly why I'm doing it. And then, you know, for a black man in this instance, my brother, whom I love, will say, nah, that's not why you're doing it. And the reason that he gave was, we're just trying to keep up with the Joneses, or this is what we've always done. And I'd agree there's certainly some elements of that in there. So
yeah, and it's a case of you don't know what you don't know. So
it's true.
You may not even know that society has impacted you this way. And so someone just giving you this knowledge, you're not just going to go, oh, thank you for sharing it with me. I didn't know. Because you don't know it. So it may take time, and it's going to take an investment. And I would encourage that young black woman to not give up.
The other thing we spoke about the other day is that same young black woman who's trying to get that man, but she may be spending anywhere from $300 to $400. And I know you had a lot to say about that young woman, especially if she doesn't, you know, have her financial situation in order. She doesn't have a home. She's not building wealth. What are your thoughts about that, given everything else we've said about identity and wanting a partner?
Yeah, I believe when I hear something like that someone is spending $300 a month on hair, and it's unfortunately not uncommon in the African American community. And this is with not even getting into the economics of it, in terms of that the money is going immediately out of the African American community. The $300 that's spent on African American hair products is not spent with African American entrepreneurs and business owners. The hair is not even African in a lot of cases. It's Indian or some other type of hair. So we're enriching a community outside of our community on a regular basis for our primary hair care, African American women. So not about that, but just on an individual level, I compare it to someone who has $4,000 rims on a $1,000 car. And I unfortunately have seen this before in the African American community, where there's a booming system, nice rims on a you know, an old beat up Hyundai Excel. And so that's what this is like. I think if you're spending $3,000 or more a year on your hair, and your income is, say, $30,000 a year or less, which is the average income for an individual who's in that age range of 18 to, say, 30. Now, that's 10% or in excess of 10% of your income on just, we're not even talking about clothes and all these other items for your personal grooming, just your hair. If you're doing that and you own your own home and your car is paid for and you're saving 10% of your income towards retirement, then I don't have a problem with that. But I would imagine, and I haven't run any numbers, but I would imagine that probably 90% of the women who are spending $300 a month on their hair are not in that category that I just mentioned. And so I think it's just an issue of priorities. And that we as a community, generally speaking, in terms of finances, but African American women specifically, should do those numbers, run those numbers. And if it shows that you are spending that much money, you're budgeting or using that much money on just your hair, then perhaps there needs to be an assessment and a realignment of those figures.
Perhaps let's thicken the plot a little bit. Your hair is shaved. You're a successful black businessman. I imagine a shaved head on a black man is not something that has kept you back. You're very successful. What do you say to the black woman who doesn't have all those priorities in order, but she feels that in order to get ahead in a system that she didn't create, and perhaps she's in corporate America, she needs to spend the money to look a certain way so that she will not be kept back? What do you say to her?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a challenge. And again, I know it's not, and there's not an easy answer. It's not a silver bullet here, but it's complex and there are many layers and levels to it. And so for the woman who feels as though they have to have this particular hairstyle in order to be successful, then we have to talk about how do you achieve those same results but without spending so much money. Is there a way to do that where you're doing more of the hair care yourself? I mean, I haven't been to a barbershop in 7 years because I've cut my own hair. And
it looks good, by the way. Looks great. Yeah, you will.
Thank you. And not everyone has that option, certainly,
right.
When it comes to black hair. I know there's a lot of work involved, and it's probably more challenging. But there are some women who, even when we're talking about relaxing your hair, who can relax their own hair and sort of save that money. So instead of $300 a month, you're spending $30 a month on a box perm. And I mean, I think those things have to be considered until you get there. So there's a term in the African American community that says, fake it until you make it. We seem to not be doing that. We seem to be really acting like we're there. We're spending the money as though we have it. And I'm saying we really don't. We are one of the few people who will buy a product that's exclusively made for us and used by us, but we don't benefit from its sale. I don't know of any other community where that happens. I mean, I would certainly like to see more African American women opening African American weave shops and wherever this hair is coming from, getting in that chain to at least on the ground level. Perhaps we can't make the batches of relaxer or shave the women's hair wherever we're getting this hair. We can't do that, but we can insert ourselves into the chain such that at least down on the level of the customer and the store owner, we can interrupt that chain.
Hey, that's what I'm hoping for too. I really hope that we can see that happen. Before we leave, I want to give you one last opportunity. Usually I try and speak directly to women, but because you're a black man and you seem to have conquered what so many people are still dealing with in terms of their self-identity and hair, what would you say to young black men out there who are where you were and they still haven't reached your level of consciousness in terms of what they're looking for in a mate?
Well, for young black men, I would say keep an open mind and understand that you are really a collection of your experiences and your parents' experiences and your life experiences. And it's important that you expand that base of experience and put yourself in a position where you're going to be around different people with different thoughts about different things. And it's through that really forcing yourself to experience life in a new way that your own knowledge is increased. And so it's a challenge, of course, and it's, you know, small changes over time, but by seeking out these opportunities is where we began to grow and learn.
Well, thank you so much. It's been eye-opening. Some of those things that you mentioned I didn't even know, so I really appreciate you educating and discussing with me something that's very important and near and dear to my heart, and I know it's near and dear to you and your family. So thank you, and thank you guys so much for tuning in. Stay tuned. We'll have other installments of what black men really think about natural hair care. As always, seek and find. Have a great day.